Quick stories. What's something that sucks about being a man?
In my 7th grade English class, there was a bee in our class. One kid yelled and pointed bee. The girls go shrieking and running out of the trailer, but 2 guys go out there also. When the group of people came back in, the jocks in the class started mocking the 2 guys for being scared of a bee. To be honest, I was lucky I was on the other side of the room. If that thing came close to me, I was booking it also. Society just seems to have this standard that men can't be scared or feel the pain from bugs.
I would really like to be a stay-at-home dad. I went to college and have a good career, but home building seems much more appealing to me. I have no problems with having a wife who's the breadwinner. I won't have kids unless I get to be a stay-at-home dad. The problem is people look at you like you're lazy. People look at you in emasculating ways, and most women aren't interested in this type of relationship. I just don't think it's worth the time or money to have kids unless I get to spend quality time with them.
No matter how much you shake your phallus after you pee, there will always be leakage.
Something that really pissed me off about my ex is that I deep cleaned her entire apartment, and when her friend came over, she complimented my ex on it. Worse yet, my ex made no effort to give me credit. The assumption that all guys are lazy slobs is wrong, especially when I constantly prove the contrary.
Want to know what sucks about being a man? Leaving a POC with your kid who doesn't want to leave the POC. The cops will be called, man. Shit's real.
Being the primary caregiver for children is still looked down upon, to a certain extent, by peers. Very few understand that it is a rational and calculated choice between my wife and me. I'm also very good and capable with my kids, and they are doing extremely well and are very happy little boys. People seem shocked by that. *edit. Thanks so much for the kind words and stories. People who truly care try to make the best decisions for their family, no matter the personal consequence. This, by far, has been one of the easier choices because there was an equation that was tangible. We saved money and have happy kids. Also, grammar because, damn it, it's important.
As a 28-year-old man with no kids, saying hi to kids in public. I work with and teach kids of all ages, so when I see a cool kid doing something, I might say something goofy to them. Or if they look at me, I might wave. All my coworkers, literally all female, do this all the time, no problem. Me, those parents have their hand on their kid in under 5 seconds, either walking swiftly the other way or shielding their child from me. Shrug, guess I can't blame them. But it is something only men have to deal with. I should mention I'm 5'5". Not at all imposing.
Whenever I want to play with a random child who takes the initiative just to hear it laugh, or help an old lady I notice struggles with her grocery bags, or help an attractive woman not because she's attractive but because she needed help, I always have this lingering thought that people will think I've got the completely wrong intentions, and that often makes me not help instead.
I race motorcycles, and the particular type I race don't have steerers, so they have to be push-started. The procedure is get in all of your gear, put the bike in gear, and pull the clutch in. Start running with the bike, jump on, and as soon as you land on the seat, let the clutch out and hope you have enough traction to turn the engine over and get it started. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 tries. On more than one occasion, my balls have somehow migrated during the running phase and ended up between me and my seat during the jumping phase. It hurt like crazy, but I had no choice but to go out and do my 30-plus minute race. Those instances rank right up there with the time I ran over my own foot in the middle of a race.
This drives me crazy. Not long ago, my boyfriend and I were in a cafe, and a random kid walked out on his own. I went after and reunited him with his parents, and my boyfriend looked really sad and said I wanted to help, but I wasn't sure what people would think. It's tragic. He's the kindest person you'd ever meet. I don't have kids, but if I did, I'd sure as shit have male babysitters, chat with guys at the playground, Be supportive. After all the support men have shown to feminists over the years, it'd be great if women could not judge men around children so much and try to involve them with kids. How else are we going to change the zeitgeist? For my part, I try to talk with men about their kids often. I know so many great dads. It's great to get in on some of their joy.
I got tormented by this girl in high school. Constant jabs, poking my belly. I was chunky at the time, and was just cruel to me. A couple of years later, I run into one of her good friends, and at this point I lost 50 pounds and was doing really well physically and mentally. Anyways, she sends me a message saying, "So I heard you got hot, winky face." So I responded with, "That's funny, I heard the opposite about you." The shit people gave me for saying that to her was unbelievable, even though everyone know how she treated me in high school. She tried to say the same things that dug into me before, but I blocked her since no good will ever come from being in contact with her.
Just imagine if girls weren't weirded out by our boners and just wanted to see them. I mean, you know, that's the world I one day want to live in.
This might get buried, but I hate that I can't take my kids to the park without being looked at like I'm a pedophile. I've had random women go up to my daughters when they were on the opposite side of the playground equipment and ask them who that man that's with them is. Both my girls are really shy, so they didn't want to answer random person, and they shouldn't have to. One lady even tried to lead my girls away from the park to get them to safety. I'm not the type who would assault a woman, but seeing someone leading your kids away from the park changes your attitude on that really fast. Once I got my kids back, she threatened to call the cops. She was pretty shocked when I called them, even more shocked when they arrested her for mischief.
Honestly, some careers just aren't seen as manly. I'm 6'2" and tattooed down to my knuckles, but people talk to me like a princess when they find out I'm a pastry chef.
I just found out a maintenance man at my husband's work used to be a pediatrician. A kid's mom got pissed at him over something and accused him of touching her child. After dragging him through the court system and costing him his practice, she admitted she made it all up. But the damage is done. What's worse is one of my husband's co-workers used to take their child to the guy and said he was beyond amazing at his job. The mother suffered no blowback from ruining someone's life, of course.
I was walking home from a party one winter night with my leather jacket and hoodie on because cold. At one point I got bored of the long wait and started to jog. What I didn't notice was the girl in the distance on the same sidewalk. She looked back, screamed, and ran into a side street. I stopped immediately and felt quite bad the rest of the way.
Being laid back. Often I really don't care what happens, what I'm doing, and what my plans are. I am just happy to go with the flow and live my life. Apparently to every woman I've ever met, this is annoying, and I should make a big deal out of every little thing.
Guys rarely get complimented or made to feel appreciated. Guys here, can you even remember the last time that a random person or acquaintance gave you a genuine compliment? If you can remember it, I bet that it stuck with you and made you smile for months. Guys don't get women throwing themselves at them. We don't get positive attention just for being ourselves. So when we think that it's happening, we second guess ourselves, assume that we misinterpreted what she meant, or we get defensive and wonder what it is that she's really after. We don't believe that you really are interested in us because you girls are never clear and direct in the rare instances that you overtly show interest. Women rarely give guys genuine, no-nonsense compliments and instead rely on hints so that there's plausible deniability in order to avoid making themselves the vulnerable one in the situation. If you want guys to start believing you and believing in themselves, then make it clearly known when you appreciate him and stop with the hints and ask him out the way that you expect him to do for you.
Why is he the one who has to change and only ever do things the way you like them? Why is it always the man and not you? Why must women be the ones who are forward about 100% of the time, meanwhile you never think to make things convenient for him? Instead of complaining that he doesn't put the toilet seat down, ask yourself why you don't put it up, and why in the world would you assume that if he doesn't notice every single thing you do that he doesn't care? How do you know that the reason he didn't notice isn't actually because he feels like shit because he was demoted at his job and his mind is on that, and then you walk in and start arguing with him over something so trivial as where the damn comb is? From his perspective, you just started screaming at him for no reason and kicked him when he was already down. How do you know he wasn't excited for whatever thing he couldn't wait all day to get home to do, and his mind was just focused on that? Or food, or anything? Maybe he didn't notice because your effort to arrange the bathroom wasn't far from what it always is, or maybe he didn't know that it was even arranged because it wasn't neat per se, and he thought that's just how you coincidentally left it. Maybe it's inconvenient for him, and why should everything in the house be arranged to be convenient for one person in the house but not the other? Why do you expect him to be thinking about how to convenience you 100% of the time when you never do the same for him? It goes both ways, so why do I have to give a shit where a comb is just to prove that I give two shits about my own spouse? I could just as easily say that because you want the comb in a different spot than I want it, you don't give two shits about me. This is what guys mean when we say women flip shit over everything on earth. Whether you like it or not, the world doesn't revolve around you, and everything he does is not part of a personal agenda to make your life hell. Most likely he just put the comb there and walked away because he was done with it, and that's all there was to it. He didn't mean anything by it. He wasn't even thinking about what he was doing. What is there to think about when you set a comb down on the bathroom counter? He wasn't trying to inconvenience you. We're not trying to inconvenience you by leaving the toilet seat up any more than you are trying to inconvenience us by leaving it down. Sorry this turned into a huge block of text. I just wanted to be thorough.